The romance of train travel finds itself in the first long-distance train to bear a name, the Sunset Limited. Stretching from New Orleans to Los Angeles, this Southern Pacific service is now run today by Amtrak. Built to carry passengers from cultured New Orleans into the wild and vast West, the Sunset Limited seldom disappoints adventurous souls who like to travel in style. America's first transcontinental railroad was built mostly from the east to west, with the Central Pacific meeting the Union Pacific north of Salt Lake City. When the Central Pacific's Big Four built America's second transcontinental railroad, they built and took over railroads from the west to the east, the direction we're going in today's program. Our journey began in Union Station in Los Angeles. The Sunset Limited is one of 3 long-distance trains departing from here. But be aware, the Sunset Limited only runs 3 days a week. In recent years, the Sunset Limited departs long after sunset, a nighttime departure from Los Angeles. On the journey where this video was taken, our departure was delayed by regional flooding. We had boarded on time and enjoyed a great dinner in the dining car, but our train didn't move out of the station until hours later. Here we saw control lights for multiple tracks. And even at this late hour, regional trains were still moving. The following morning, we found ourselves in the desert of Arizona. All this chatter you hear is because we are enjoying breakfast in the dining car.
Did you see the barbed wire?
We were back in our roomette when the Sunset Limited reached Tucson.
We're coming into the station. There's an old steam engine.
Getting
nice
some
station.
reflection.
Tucson is a service stop for the Sunset Limited. Trash is removed, the locomotive is fueled, and a new crew comes aboard. It's a great chance to get out and stretch your legs. The legendary Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday are represented here, symbolizing the West's wildness. We'll revisit Tucson and the country east of here in part 2 of the Sunset Limited eastbound. For many years, the Sunset Limited left Los Angeles in early afternoon. Here we're pulling out of Union Station during one of those years. You can see some construction along the platform.
Leaving Los Angeles, pulling out. Eastbound to New Orleans.
To collect tickets. We'll be getting announcements from the dining car and the lounge car here as we move along shortly, and they'll tell you all about our services and facilities on the train. We do want to caution you though, as you walk through the train, to hold on to the seat rests and bags, and wear your shoes at all times, and please don't run. We have a lot of kids on here today, and if kids can't get excited and start running, please have them not run, or if they are, please stop them so that they don't fall. Want everybody to have a safe trip. Please always wear your shoes anytime you walk through the train. Absolutely. So you guys have the banner room there?
That's me, I'll be that.
All right.
How we doing, everybody?
Hey, this is our
You guys
friendly
doing okay?
car attendant.
Okay.
And what's your name?
My name is Anthony.
Anthony. Nice to meet you. So, ma'am, what train are you on?
I'm on the Sunset Limited.
And where does this train go?
Well, it dead ends at New Orleans.
And where do you get off?
I'm getting off in a little town called Lafayette.
As we traveled east, we could see the San Bernardino Mountains in the background. We passed through some country with significant soil erosion, and some parts had orchards of orange trees. The mountains were lit by the light of the magic hour, but soon the light faded in this area of washes. We'd awake tomorrow in Arizona.
Oh, there's all that pollution from Los Angeles.
This train is named the Sunset Limited. Heading east to New Orleans, it's Amtrak train number 2. On a curve like this one, we can see the locomotives. We're headed east, the direction in which Southern Pacific built America's second transcontinental railroad. Our first episode saw us leave Los Angeles. Now we're headed to Tucson, Arizona.
Pacific guy.
Still got a good one.
There's the track crew.
You gonna say where you're at?
And we are west of Tucson, and there's Interstate 10. This is coming into Tucson. In the old schedule, this was at night. The business center, or whatever you want to call it.
That's a restaurant, Borderlands. Our parking lot was full.
Oh. Oh wow, that's like organized. I wouldn't even call it graffiti. I would call it
got
murals.
Great big signs. Pennington Street, there's like a bus depot.
If you want to view the Tucson station, see Part 1 of the Sunset Limited Eastbound, posted on letscreate.org. In today's show, we're pulling out of Tucson.
Huge power plant, probably coal. Yeah, there's the coal cars right there. That's a coal-powered power plant right there. And this is probably a coal processing facility.
What are all these passenger jets doing parked in the Arizona desert? The dry desert air is preserving them.
I'll let you know we'll be stopped for a moment to perform a safety check on the train. Once that is done, we'll be moving here shortly. Thank you, folks.
While the train is stopped, let's take a quick tour of the sleeping car.
This is what it looks like inside the sleeper. There's two seats facing each other, but I can only film one at a time. Little control panel here for heat, the light, little controls. And then above
Tucson,
here,
there's a truck going over.
this is actually the top bunk, but it's set up for the day so you can sit upright. But this actually comes down at night, and there's a little bunk up there, and that's where you sleep. Now if you're real lucky, you'll get a compartment with a wife in it, and that's what we did here. This is my wife, and this is the seat that's facing the other seat. And as you can see, it gives you a good perch for doing some video work during the day and such. And then there's controls behind her for lights and such. There's a little table here that you can pull out and play cards or have a snack or whatever you want. As you can see, we have some water in here. This is an area of the car. You see Santa Claus there. This is the area of the car where if you're in first class, you can come and get a little juice in the morning or grab a bottle of water. For people who like to start their day with some coffee, there's a big old urn of coffee here. Everything's kept very nice and clean because we have a really good attendant in that car. There's little things in this little cabinet like cups and things. And what's really nifty is down here. There's ice in here, so you can put ice in your drinks. So this is the mid part of the car. And then if you turn in the opposite way, there's just one little aisle on the outside, and these are the bedrooms. These are much bigger spaces where people stay. Okay, so if we follow these stairs, they have to twist and turn, as you can see, down into the lower level. And you have to be in the lower level to get on or off of this train. Now right here is where you can store your bags, and as you can see, we have a lot of people with baggage considered carry-ons. And these are the doors in the lower level where you can get on or off the train. Here we are in Arizona. We recycle in our car. And this goes into the dining room. As you can see, there's all kind of tables in there. That is the dining car. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This is the observation car, a great place to hang out and meet other passengers. And here's the passenger, an unwary passenger. And we're back in the room. Safety comes first on Amtrak. This train won't move until the safety check is finished and all systems are go. When we do move, we continue our journey east. We're still in Arizona, and there's lots of awesome desert ahead. There's a lot to see from the train in New Mexico. We're headed east on the Sunset Limited, crossing the Great Desert Land in America's Southwest. From Tucson, Arizona, the Sunset Limited spends a good part of the day traveling to El Paso, Texas, often passing freight trains. These tracks are owned by the Union Pacific Railroad. Amtrak has to lease the tracks. Near the Texas state line, northwest of El Paso,
The tracks enter this sprawling rail yard, constructed by the Union Pacific Railroad. In a distant part of this yard, we see freight containers and the equipment that lifts them off the rail cars. Our train crept into these brand new service islands where locomotives take on fuel and other necessities. I suspect that the railroad has invested over $1 billion in this huge desert-located installation. On the opposite side of our train, we saw a treat. Waiting on a parallel track was the westbound Sunset Limited. I say it was a treat because it's always exciting to encounter the sister train, and it's usually going by so fast that it's just a blur. But not this time. In the westbound train, we see the same consist as our own train going eastbound. Of course, there's the two locomotives. Here's the baggage car. And behind the baggage car, we have the sleeping cars. On this train, there are two of them. Here's the first one, and then here's the second one. After those cars, the sleeping cars, we have the dining car, which from the outside looks identical. And then we have the viewing car, which is also the lounge car. Behind that, we find the coaches. Now it's time for our train to pull out. We're not far from El Paso, but first we have to clear this gigantic complex of trains, freight containers, and trucks.
There's a border crossing over there.
What's that?
Border crossing over there.
Oh,
Oh, right
is
here.
that what it is?
The Sunset Limited runs right along the border with Mexico, allowing passengers a quick glimpse of our neighbors to the south.
This is the border right here.
To Mexico?
Yep, that's Mexico right over there.
Dad? Dad,
Hola, amigos.
that's Mexico.
Soon there was no more town, only the sprawling desert and the border patrol.
Oh, yeah. El Paso.
Soon we were on a high trestle, entering El Paso, the most westerly city in Texas.
So that is the Rio Grande River right there. That's all there is to it.
Here we saw a fence between us and our neighbors.
That would be the fence.
Yep,
That would
and
be
there's a border
Mexico.
guard right over there.
One of the best things I ever did was to live in Mexico for a year. This is only one view. You shouldn't base your opinion of Mexico on a quick glimpse of a border town.
The train station.
El Paso.
This is the El Paso train station right here.
This distinctive structure was designed by the same architect as the Union Station in Washington, D.C.
If they go, when they go past, take a picture of
I
the-
think we're stopping here.
Yeah, we're definitely stopping here.
El Paso is a service stop and the only city of any size for quite some time.
Where you can claim your baggage. Please have your lane checks ready.
And let the good times roll.
Here's a freight train carrying cargo containers from the West Coast ports, still headed east. El Paso is a good opportunity to get off the train for a while and walk around on something that's not moving. It's also a chance to get a good look at the train you're on. That's how I discovered that the Sunset Limited was pulling these private historic cars on the end of the train. We were pulling 4 of them. From the Amtrak station, we could clearly see Ciudad Juarez in Mexico. Ciudad Juarez has seen more than its share of violence from drug cartels. While I don't hesitate to visit Mexico, I would not recommend doing it here. We were in Texas now, only about 900 miles to the Louisiana border, picking up some new passengers to take east. Rumbling through America's Southwest, Amtrak's Sunset Limited travels eastbound, the direction in which our second transcontinental railroad was built. We started in Los Angeles on this adventure on a passenger train that would head east until reaching New Orleans, Louisiana. In parts 1, 2, and 3, we shared our journey from Los Angeles to El Paso, Texas. Now we travel on to San Antonio, Texas. This is big desert country, the Wild West's open spaces. We passed miles of track improvement work. With so much freight crossing the country these days, railroad companies are investing heavily in infrastructure. We saw all kinds of interesting equipment, replacing ties, straightening rails, and replacing ballast, even hauling off the old ties. Since Amtrak runs on these rails, we ought to get a smoother ride in the future. For much of this route, we ran parallel to Interstate 10, but it was rarely within sight. Here we saw the border crossing from Arizona to New Mexico. Landscape remained the same no matter which state you were in. Even the little towns looked alike. I'm always intrigued by the towns left behind when traffic shifted to the interstate from the old 2-lane highways. Now the Sunset Limited pulls east out of El Paso through a Union Pacific train yard and past this petroleum processing plant. Oil and Texas have long lived together, and there's still nothing quite like a West Texas sunset. Well, it is the Sunset Limited. East of El Paso, along the edge of the Rio Grande, we saw cotton fields and other examples of agriculture. And once we left the river area, it's a much drier landscape.
We're headed east between toward Alpine, Texas from El Paso.
Some people consider West Texas barren and uninteresting. I, on the other hand, find enchantment here. This is far from featureless. Even when great landforms don't present themselves for close observation, there's always some kind of mountain visible on the horizon.
Why isn't it in your viewer?
Now it is. That outbuilding is.
I'm reminded that this sprawling country used to be part of Mexico. In fact, everything from Los Angeles to the Louisiana border was once part of Mexico. Well, it shouldn't be surprising that you'd find Spanish-speaking people here. West Texas towns like Alpine are on the small side, but very important to the railroad. Alpine is where the crew of the Sunset Limited rotates. We get new conductors and engineers. Alpine is the gateway to Big Bend National Park. The park spans both sides of the Rio Grande, so Big Bend is a cooperative effort with Mexico. For people who want to walk in wilderness, Big Bend offers lots of opportunities. Lovers of breathtaking geography, as well as avid bird watchers, find their paradise here. Big Bend is a dry region, despite that there's a river running through it. You can run that river in a kayak or canoe. You can also hike the 150 miles of trails, some good day hikes, and some taking you deep into wilderness. No wilderness in the dining car. We're still headed east.
Down there somewhere. I think it's part of our surprise now.
This is West Texas. Lots of it.
Sanderson, Texas.
The sameness of the West Texas landscape is broken by this awesome sight, the Pecos River. Sunset Limited crosses on the highest railroad bridge in North America. Further east, another bridge takes us across Lake Amistad, a lake shared in friendship between the United States and Mexico, near Del Rio, Texas. We parallel Highway 90, also known as the Old Spanish Trail. We're late arriving in San Antonio. It's usually dark when we meet a train called the Texas Eagle here. The Sunset Limited drops a sleeper and a coach here for their trip to Chicago. 2 cars shorter, the Sunset Limited continues eastbound toward New Orleans. There's still a lot of Texas down the tracks. I hope you enjoy this bonus video. Find more bonus videos on our website at letscreate.org.